Hey everybody, Chizzy here, and this past weekend I went to the Niagara Falls Regional and I ended up taking ninth with Sky Striker. Super happy to get my first invite for Nats since I started playing again. Well, for my first Nats invite ever. And I do it with my favorite deck, Sky Striker. I put a lot of time and effort into playing the deck and, a long time. I've been playing this deck since 2019, so it finally feels good to get a top with it. I know I didn't win the mat. I got ninth place. I got super close. I barely didn't get to sneak in, but I had a really good time regardless. I played out of my mind the event, I feel like, and I just wanted to do a deck profile just because, I stream on Twitch a lot. Mostly Striker gameplay on Remote Duel Locals. So I wanted to have this for my channel just, so people could see what I played in case they might want to pick up Striker, so... I'm going to go through my matchups real quick just before I get into the profile. I'm not going to go in depth about all the games and what happened, but round 1, I won 2-0 versus Crusadia. Round 2, I won 2-0 versus Mystic Mind Burn. Round 3, I won 2-1 versus Drytron. Round 4, I lost 0-2 versus Adventure Libromancer, which is what I played against Milano. Shout out to Milano. He cooked me. Cooked me super hard. His deck is insane. Round 5, I 2-0'd to Pure BA. Round 6, I 2-0'd Sword Soul. Round 7, I lost 1-2 to Dragon Link, and then I finished the day off 2-1 versus Sword Soul. So a decent amount of rogue, decent amount of meta, about like 50% rogue, 50% meta, I'd say. But yeah, so without further ado, let's just get right into the profiles. So you obviously, Ray is Bay, and then Rose, and then Rhoda. So... I've mentioned this before on profiles, on like my Adventure Striker profile, I think. I always like 2 rows. I don't like 3. I think having 6 like 3 and 3 is super cloggy, and you don't want to really open multiples of these. It makes your hands really weak when you have like 2 Ray rows or like 2 rows Ray, or you just want to have other cards in your deck, but you still want to make sure you're able to play, so... I felt like with this, Hornet Drones and Engage, with Area 0 and Multi-Roll, I was able to see my Striker engine enough. There was only a couple games the whole tournament I didn't see it. But I'm pretty sold on the 2 rows, 3 Ray. Then for the hand traps, I played 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Ash Blossom, and then 3 Infinite Impermanence. I didn't want to have too many hand traps in my list and brick on a ton of hand traps. It was nice. I saw 1 or 2 most games, and you just wanted to like have them. And these cover the most matchups in my opinion. And I have like more side or hand traps in my side deck, but these were the 9 I wanted in the main deck for sure. And you need Effect Veiler for the access code play, so I needed to have that in my deck. But all these hand traps worked very well. Wouldn't change anything about the 9. And then for Shecker stuff, 3 Widow Anchor. This is very standard at this point. Nobody should be playing any less, in my opinion. 2 Afterburners, even though my list is more of a going first list, which you'll see in the later cards. 2 Afterburners was nice. It's a free like dump off of Hayate if you need something. And also, it's good in case you lose a die roll and you need to like break a board. It's good spot removal. It also is like monster and spell and trap removal. 2 Widow Anchor. I decided to play 2. I was playing 1, but I wanted 2 because I was kind of afraid of Despia, because I don't know if it's the best deck anymore, but it's a deck a lot of people are on, and there was definitely a decent amount of Despia at the top tables throughout the event. But I dodged all of them, fortunately. But the Shark Cannon was there because I didn't have Crow on my list, so I wanted to make sure I had Shark Cannon for those matchups, and it's also good for link climbing. I might cut it back to 1 in the future, but the 2 worked for me, but I know that's not really indicative if it was actually good at 2 or not. And then for the 1-ofs, we have 1 Area 0, 1 Multi-Roll, 1 Engage, and 1 Hornet Drone. These don't really need explaining. I am still kind of iffy about Area 0. It didn't whiff for me as much this weekend. I was able to see Ray and like get other cards off of it. But it's nice opening multi-roll in Area 0. It baited an Ash for me when I had a Ray in my hand anyway, so it's just nice to have. And it's also good because it can out your own mind when you're ready to make that final push for game. So speaking of mine, the Terraforming, the MVP, Mystic Mine, this card deserves to be banned. Like, this card is absolutely insane how many games I won. Not even just because, like, I didn't deck anybody out this tournament. I just sat on it and played underneath it, and outed it when I was ready to push for game and break their board, and the card was nuts. I MVP of the deck for sure. Like, this is the best Sky Striker card ever printed. I don't care what anybody says. And then to accompany the mine, we have the 4 additional copies. So I'm going to go why I played 2 mines. So this is inspired by Poe's list, which was playing 3 Mystic Mine. But the 3 Mystic Mine is better going second, because there were times where I was playing 3 mine and I opened 2 going first, and this card literally like, doesn't do anything going first. So it's just, I didn't want to like open multiples of it. I'd rather just like activate it out of the deck with any of like these 4 or be able to search it. But I didn't want just 1, because if you see it, then all these cards are dead. So I felt like 2 was a good number. Because you don't want to, like, you don't really want to draw them. It feels bad when you open, like, multiples of them and then you can't activate them right from the deck. 2 Prosperity for consistency. Would not play a 3rd. I really enjoy this card at 2. I saw it in my opening hands sometimes, and then I would never see it again, which is perfect. You don't want to see this card multiple times. And, it, like, because you just can't afford to banish the 6 with this deck. So just having the banish for 3, because all the cards you reveal in this deck are really insane. So I just wanted, like, it's more consistency, and it just gets you into other things. So definitely like it at 2, wouldn't play it at 3. And then the other MVP of the deck was the 2 Trap Trick and the 3D Barrier. So Poe's was playing 3 Trap Trick, but I noticed in testing his list that there were times where you draw, like, D Barrier Trap Trick, and once you resolve Trap Trick 1 time, all the rest of the copies in your deck are dead, so you would sometimes dead draw a Trap Trick, and you don't really want to do that. So I felt like just having the 5 was enough. I saw it plenty of times. I won a bunch of games because of it, and I would not cut this from my deck. This is like one of the reasons why I still liked playing the going first list, because I considered like a going second with like more hand traps and like board breakers and stuff, but it's just way too good not to play. So going into the extra deck now, 40 in the main. We got 3 Kagari, extremely standard. 3 Shizuku, this is, I would say 99% standard. Some lists only play 2, but I feel like going first, you kind of have to play 3, because you're normally ending on like the first one. So you want the other 2 just to make sure you have follow-up. 2 Hayate. Sometimes I wished I had a 3rd, because the deck plays Undermine, so it would be nice to have 3 Hayate pokes and sends, because then all your Striker cards are live when you're ready to like make that push. But I never lost the game because I needed the 3rd one. Kaina, obviously standard, and then Zeke standard. And really nothing to change here. Like I said, the only thing I'd even consider is maybe bumping Hayate up to 3, but it was only a consideration. There was never a time where I needed the 3rd, and I lost because I didn't have the 3rd. So, the utility cards, Dark and Nightmare Unicorn. These were the MVP Prosperity banishes for the regional. I don't think I made either of these 1 time, but they're good in theory, because this can like help you link climb. This can spin cards back, and so it's just like utility, but like I said, they more often than not just got banished off of Prosperity. And then another MVP of the deck, this combo, this Haku Fiber Excellent Access Code Talker combo. This won me so many games when I was ready to start making my final push for game after the 2 Hayate pokes. This card just came up so clutch, and won me my Crusadia matchup. I'll talk about it on stream one day when I go over like my matches, but this card, this entire package is nuts. Wouldn't change anything about the extra deck, except the Unicorn might be the Wind Charmer in the future, but this is what I play at the regional, so just something to consider. So now we'll get into the side deck. So 3 copies of Nib, 3 Token Collector, and then 2 Ogre were my monsters. These were all just hand traps I needed for when some of my hand traps weren't good in other matchups, like Ash isn't particularly good versus Sword Soul, but these are. Nib is good against like Rogue and like combo decks I can't really put up negates. It's also insane in conjunction with Valor or Imperm, which are already in my deck, so I feel like I had to play this. And Ogre is kind of interesting. I know it's kind of like has fell out of popularity in the format, but with the way my main deck is set up, I wanted to respect Fluanderies, which there was a ton of at the regional. So with me playing Trap Trick, D-Barrier, and Demise of the Land, that's 8 cards that are just immediately dead against Fluanderies, so I needed multiple cards for the Fluanderies matchup to like side in to take those out. And I felt like Ogre being able to hit the map as well as hitting Fateful and also being like a hand trap you can open in conjunction with Nibiru to nib away like a adventure board, I felt like warranted a spot in the extra deck. And then one copy of Jamming Waves is I wanted it for like trap decks and Guardian Chimera, since this card actually outs Guardian Chimera with the Poly Engrave. I cited it in maybe like once or twice, but it never really came up. And then I also played 3 copies of Twin Twister, 2 Cosmic Cyclone, and the Duster. Like I said, I needed a lot of cards for Fluanderies, so I just wanted to make sure I had a lot of spell and trap removal, especially because anti-spell is getting popular again. I wanted to have as much spell and trap removal as I could in my side deck, and because I couldn't really think of anything else I wanted to play in my side deck, because I hadn't really tested a whole lot. Like I had considered cards like Talents, but every time I tested Triple Tactics Talents, it always underperformed, and I was very happy with the way my side deck was. Honestly, there's a lot of times where I didn't really need to side in a whole lot of cards, just because my main deck is so good at handling most matchups. There was like a whole lot of time I didn't really even need to side. I only sided in like Nib or like Token Collector or like Ogre and Token Collector or Ogre or whatever. So yeah, that's it for the profile, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm still super stoked about, getting my invite. 9th was way better than I expected to do at this regional. I was still hoping to do good, but just getting 9th was very rewarding, considering I felt like I put so much time into this deck over the years, and it, for the first time, felt like it's finally paid off. So I do appreciate everybody for watching that's been tuning into the Twitch streams. I wouldn't have been able to do this without you guys. So yeah, that's the profile. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.